Just the other day, Jurassic World Rebirth finally showcased its first trailer. A little late to the party, but what can you do? So as someone who's covered the timeline of Jurassic Park more than once, and started YouTube just doing little JPOG mod videos, I thought I'd make a quick video just analyzing the trailer. I won't go too deep into the analysis here, mainly because A, got a podcast to talk about that, but more info on that later. And B, that being, there are some implications in this trailer and potentially the movie that I want to save for another project. But yeah, assuming that I won't be able to get most of my thoughts in the podcast out, might as well air them in this video real quick. So yeah, let's talk about the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer. So first, right off the bat, let's just talk about how this movie looks. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Like, usually when trailers come out, they'll use pre-rendered footage, but everything in here looks just so damn crisp. The T-Rex, the Quetzalcoatluses, the Mosasaur looks so... The scene with the Mosasaur circling the boat and the Spinosaurus like closing, that looks so good. The way that the water reflects off of the Mosasaur skin, and it's just those small details that just makes me go, this film will probably be single-handedly one of the most gorgeous in the Jurassic World franchise. But I guess that's the benefits of hiring on a director who has a background in VFX. And going a little beyond that, a couple folks have been questioning the success of this movie. And it's the past Jurassic World films, sure, critically haven't been doing too well, but people arguing whether this film is going to be successful, especially when we have a new Superman movie and then you have the Fantastic Four. I'm just gonna be really blunt about this. Have the past 3 films taught you nothing at this point? At the minimum, I'd say, if it's not going to make $1 billion, it's probably going to make $900 million. And if it's not going to make $900 million, probably going to make $500 million. Alright? There's just no doubt about this. Jurassic World is connected to Jurassic Park. The Jurassic franchise is one of the main reasons why filmmakers even pursue filmmaking. It's up there with Star Wars. So I don't doubt that this film is probably going to be successful. It's going to pull in numbers at the box office. Maybe it's not going to be as high as the previous films, but I definitely think it's going to make a killing when it releases in July. Alright, now, let's get into the deeper analysis, finally. So, one thing I really want to talk about is the fact that we see some recurring species that we've seen in previous films, but they look a little different. Old animals, but new designs. First off, we have the Quetzalcoatlus, which has been confirmed to be a Quetzalcoatlus. At first, I thought it was going to be another species of Astarchid, maybe Haxagopteryx, or even, there was a species that was discovered in Canada. I can't remember its name. At first, I thought it was going to be another Astarchic pterosaur in that family, but no, this is actually Quetzalcoatlus. Now, some people are going to go, why does this look so different from Jurassic World Dominion? And if you really want to be surface level creator decisions, but if you want to go into deeper lore implications, the Quetzalcoatlus in Jurassic World Dominion was cloned using pure Quetzalcoatlus DNA, as stated in the film itself in Biosyn Valley. This Quetzalcoatlus was bred by InGen. Now, according to the lore, InGen injected a lot of other species of animals, mainly frogs, to fill in the gaps in the genome. Hence why this animal looks so different. And, we'll get deeper into that, what's this facility, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's the main reason why this Quetzalcoatlus and the Dominion Quetzalcoatlus looks different, in my opinion at least. I also love how Jonathan Bailey's character responds to the Gen funding the mission. They should have invested in remaking that scene in the first Jurassic Park where Alan Grant traumatizes a kid with the raptor claw.
Do we have to get a sample from an egg?
Oh, sure. By chance, are you familiar with Astarchids? These things, at minimum, are the size of giraffes. Possibly the closest thing to a dragon that this world has ever seen. A complete avian predator that would love to do nothing more but to make a meal out of you and me. But by all means, let's go for the giraffe-sized man-eating flying reptile instead of its eggs.
So, Is that a yes or?
Going away from the Quetzalcoatlus real quick, we also have the Mosasaur. And of course, we had the Mosasaur in Jurassic World, and then we had this Mosasaur. Again, same thing. This Mosasaur was cloned by InGen themselves. Meanwhile, the Mosasaur that we've seen in Jurassic World is Masrani's Mosasaur, which the implications in Jurassic World being that nothing in Jurassic World is real. So the animals that were cloned in Jurassic World are designer animals. They were made to be park attractions, or to quote Alan Grant from Jurassic Park 3. Theme park monsters. Meanwhile, I think that the Mosasaur that we see in Rebirth, being an InGen species, was more in tune to what the animal might have actually looked like. And, really interesting design choice here that this Mosasaur actually has a tail fluke, which is something that has been proven with the species. Although I will say the tail fluke looks a little strange in this shot. It looks more like a dorsal fin than anything else. Yeah, there's that. So yeah, that's kind of like what I think is the main reason why the Jurassic World Mosasaur looks really different from the Rebirth Mosasaur. Now, we also have a quick look at the T-Rex in this trailer, and interestingly enough, this Rex, despite not looking like any of the other InGen Rexes that we've seen in the past movies, actually bears striking resemblance to the Eadie Tyrannosaurs in Camp Cretaceous. Like you see, it has very distinctive vertical line patternings on its back, and we only ever see that in the two individuals from that series. I'm not really sure where this could potentially fit in. Like, as we know, the T-Rex that shows up in Jurassic Park, that was cloned using it was a species of frog, I just forget which one. But then you have the other Rexes that used, I believe it was an African frog species. Those frogs are able to change gender, and even if you were to look at both the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World T-Rex, and compare that with the Lost World Tyrannosaurs, the two females, you do see that there's like some slight differences between them. Use of different frog DNA for those two individuals, and maybe the same applies here with this Rex. Honestly, there's not really much I can really say here. It's just a one shot, but you could definitely see that patterning. So whatever made this Rex to be what it is probably the same thing that made the Eadie Tyrannosaurs from Camp Cretaceous. These three individuals, Little Eadie, Big Eadie, and now this Rex, either way originated in Sorna. We'll talk more about that in a bit. And probably the most interesting out of all of them has to be the Spinosaurus. So, getting right into it. For one, the body is very paleo-accurate from what we've seen. This animal is going to be a lot stubbier. It's going to have the paddle fin, like seen in the actual fossil of the animal. However, what's very curious about this version of Spinosaurus is the fact that this Spinosaurus actually has a baryonyx head from Jurassic World, which is very curious. What kind of tomfoolery is going on here exactly? Why does this Spinosaurus have such mixed anatomy? Like, yeah, it's closer to what the animal actually looks like, but then you get to the head and it looks a lot like the baryonyx from Jurassic World. The implications there, it's kind of confusing, really, because as we'll discuss later on, this island that they're on is a research facility that only InGen, John Hammond's InGen, not Masrani's, had access to. And this is where they kind of send animals that weren't genetically stable, we'll see. So yeah, like the Spinosauruses are interesting. They're kind of a bit of a enigma. I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the movie. And of course, we need to talk about the big Rancor Xenomorph T-Rex hybrid abomination in the room. Alright, so I'm going to be using this illustration by Manu PaleoArt, which, by the way, absolutely fantastic artist. They did other reconstructions of the other animals in Jurassic World Rebirth, along with other paleo art. Link down in the description. Be sure to follow them. Yeah, so with Jurassic World Rebirth, we're going to be seeing, according to the leaks, this animal is going to be dubbed the D-Rex. And I'm just going to make a quick guess here. I'm guessing the D in its name is going to stand for Diablo or Diabolus, which, as we all know, translates to devil. Diablosaurus Rex, the Devil Lizard King. Yeah, that kind of goes hard. One last thing to mention about the name Diablo Rex or Diabolus. Saurus Rex, whatever. It was actually one of the original names for the Indominus Rex in Jurassic World. There is something else pertaining to this thing, which kind of showcases no concept ideas really goes completely into the trash. They might resurface later on. So one thing I do want to kind of mention is in my original Jurassic World Timeline video, I talk about how Dr. Wu was doing some kind of experiments. I'm not sure exactly what it was, and there's been like many guesses as to what this experiment is, but he dubs it as a mistake, which is kind of unfitting for Dr. Wu. He always had some kind of reverence and respect for the animals that he made, but this one he dubbed as a mistake. Now, before we thought this was going to be the JP3 raptors or the Spinosaurus, but now, with the existence of this thing, along with the other implications of this island, makes me wonder whether if this is the mistake that he was referring to, and what exactly led to the creation of this thing. Was this potential D-Rex the mistake that Dr. Wu made, and he abandoned it on this island? However, I need to like recheck my notes with that, because I'm pretty sure this mistake that he referred to, he released onto Sorna, not this island. But, you know, we'll talk about that when we get there. But, you know, like, the name D-Rex and, you know, what this thing is supposed to be is a clear example of how unused concepts can potentially be used again. So, a little bit of history here. So, after the release of the first Jurassic Park, there was actually a plan to do an animated series. And in that animated series, it was going to showcase mutant dinosaurs, specifically ones with multiple limbs or multiple heads, and one being a homunculus eldritch nightmare. Now, I will say this. It's understandable how some folks wouldn't want to see something like this in their Jurassic movie, but at the same time, the fact that the idea of... I guess what I'm trying to say is the idea of having mutated monsters like these showing up in a Jurassic movie was not so much a matter of if, but when, especially if, you know, concepts like these existed as early as the first Jurassic Park. I think there is one thing I'm worried about this hybrid, and that is the possible repeat of the problem with introducing hybrids into the Jurassic franchise, because now, like, it's a double-edged sword. For one, you have people that know that these hybrids are fake, but then in doing that, they will proceed to misidentify animals that are very much real to also be fake. Like, I can easily see people looking at the Titanosaur, for example, which is a real animal, by the way, and perceiving it as a fake dinosaur. And we already seen this happen with Jurassic World Dominion, where people stated that the Giganotosaurus or the Therizinosaurus were fake animals. And that's mainly because I don't blame them for that mindset, but at the same time, just Google's right there. You could easily fact check if these animals are real or not. You know, I don't blame them, especially given the fact that in the last two Jurassic World movies up to that point, we had two fake dinosaurs. But then you have the other edge of the sword, which is people thinking that these fake animals are real. There was a time where people thought that the Indominus Rex was an actual animal, same thing with the Indoraptor. And it got into the point where even other films trying to write off the success of Jurassic World even perceived those animals as being real. So, right off the bat, this D-Rex, not a real animal. It is just a monster. I guess I'll leave off this section of the video with this. As a fan of the games Jurassic World Alive and Jurassic World Evolution, really looking forward to Jurassic World Evolution 3. Yes, there's going to be a third one. I do wonder how they're going to implement this thing in both of those games. It's going to be really interesting, but it's also going to be really fun. If there's one thing that I really do hate about this thing, though, it's the fact that I won't be able to get a 6-inch, highly articulated, super detailed figure of it. Damn you, Tamashi. Okay, let's finally talk about this new island. So I think one theory that I have about this new island is this potentially Site C? Is this island one of the other 5 deaths? So as you all know, when John Hammond bought Isla Nublar, he also bought the Quacinto Mortis, the 5 deaths. Those being Isla Sorna, Isla Pena, Isla Mutra, Isla Tacano and Isla Matanceros. I think I got that. So I think right off the bat, I think this island that they're on might be Isla Muetra, which I think translates to the Island of Death. And I mainly say this because John Hammond, he bought that full archipelago, and there has been implications that one of the other islands in the Five Deaths has been utilized to clone or hold certain dinosaurs. It is confirmed in this trailer that this facility that the characters are in was a facility for the original Jurassic Park, not Jurassic World.
This island was the research facility for the original Jurassic Park.
And I think the fact that on some of the equipment it reads InGen rather than Maserati Global kind of confirms that this is part of John Hammond's Jurassic Park rather than Maserati's Jurassic World. Now, one thing I do want to point out is if this facility, if this island is potentially connected to a book that I initially ignored for the Jurassic Park Timeline video, but now I might need to consider it as canon. That book being The Dead Islands. Now, if I could just pull up the synopses. The synopsis for this book reads, in the summer of 1984, Kenneth Turner and his 10-year-old daughter Eileen are flying back home when something terrible happens. After a nightmarish time lost at sea, they are eventually rescued by fishermen off the coast of Central America. Turner and all other survivors of the plane crash are then taken to an island shrouded in mystery. There they are placed under quarantine. What is going on in this facility? What are they really up to on Site C? Why is the archipelago marked as maximum security prison on the maps? So yeah, I'll leave it there, but you know, from that premise alone, there's clearly something going on. So yeah, I'll try and get this book and dig deeper into it and see what might be going on. But yeah, that is Jurassic Park Dead Islands, potentially connected to what's going on in Jurassic World Rebirth and the greater Jurassic Park timeline. Now, going back to the earlier comments about this island being a research facility for the original Jurassic Park, you know, this leads me to a simple question. Is this island a dumping ground for clones with genetic mistakes? Now, getting past the fact that, you know, some of the animals here look completely different from the animals that we've seen throughout the franchise. The fact that there's a literal mutant abomination walking around. There's also that raptor, which, if you look carefully, has two heads. Okay, so I saw the Gaming Beer make a note of this, saying that this probably can't be a dumping ground for genetic mistakes because Jurassic Park doesn't have genetic mistakes. Until I say, are you sure about that? Going back to the original Jurassic Park, even though they used frog DNA to fill in the gaps, there was an unprecedented reaction by doing that, and that being the fact that the animals now that use this African frog DNA now had the ability to change sex, and with that managed to have male counterparts in the population. Thus the animals were able to breed, even though they hoped to not have that happen by making all the animals female. And yet, to quote Dr. Malcolm, life finds a way. And in spite of that, in spite of little over 30 years passing, even in 2015 with Maserati Global taking the helm, overseeing the cloning of these animals, some of them still managed to get unprecedented abilities or genetic mishaps happen to them. I think a really good example of this has to be the Indominus Rex, giving them all these traits like gray tree frog and cuttlefish to have this animal live in an environment that allows it to. You know, I think originally they gave it cuttlefish DNA to help it survive an accelerated growth rate, while they added gray tree frog DNA to help it survive in a subtropical climate, or wait, no, tropical climate, god. And yet, despite those being the initial reasons why they implemented those animals in the Indominus's genome, the Indominus ultimately also gained other abilities that those animals have. Even though the cuttlefish is able to survive a accelerated growth rate, the Indominus also managed to gain the ability to change color, even though that wasn't something that they intended to. Like, even Maserati, when he confronted Dr. Wu, was like, what benefit do we have with an animal that can camouflage? And you know, the Indominus is like the tip of the iceberg. But of course, there's also the Scorpius Rex, which was the progenitor of all the hybrids. So yeah, with that in mind, I think it's more than likely that the first people that tried to bring back dinosaurs definitely had a few animals that just didn't come out right. Hence why I think this facility might be made as a dumping ground for the genetic mishaps. And the characters mentioned that this is a research facility, so they probably used this facility specifically to figure out what happened to these specific animals and how to avoid similar mistakes with other cloned animals. Because again, we're cloning dinosaurs here, alright? This is incredibly expensive. Yeah, John Hammond said spare no expense, but at the same time, you know? Now, I also want to like touch on the two-headed raptor, because there's some deeper implications into this, but I'm probably like looking way too deep into this. So, it's a male raptor. So I guess the one question I have is, did InGen know? Did InGen know that their animals have the ability to change their gender? I mean, sure, maybe like when some of the park workers were at the facility were like, hey, look at that one over there. It has pretty nice colors. Different from that one over there. Guess it's a genetic variant or something. Can't be anything else. Whoa, look at that. It got two heads. Get the cataprod. I think it's climbing the fence. And yeah, I guess that's everything I can really say about this this new trailer. So I might as well use this to promote a couple of things. Number one being the Lone Colony podcast. You probably see me promote this channel a couple of times over here, but yeah. So on there's going to be a new podcast. What is it called? I have no clue. But hey, stay subscribed onto that channel, and eventually it will come up. Yeah. And the other one being, so you know how I made a two-parter Jurassic World Timeline video? Yeah. Well, since those videos had been uploaded, a lot of things changed. For one, both the final season of Camp Cretaceous and Jurassic World Dominion released, both of those bringing in their own little tidbits of information to apply to the greater timeline. We also have the new animated series Chaos Theory that also released. And it's safe to say that some of the events that I mentioned in the initial timeline videos may not be canon anymore. So in anticipation for Rebirth, I will be releasing a brand new Jurassic World I will be releasing a brand new Jurassic Park Timeline video. This time combining the events from the first video and the second video together to make a singular, very long timeline video. But I think like one of the main reasons why I want to do this is mainly because the initial timeline video didn't come out the way that I wanted to. Like, for one, I was like rushing through the script. First I had to like research everything and, you know, rewatch, reread a lot of the Jurassic content again, and then put up a summarized version into script form. And then right after that, I think I had like a week before Jurassic World Dominion came out, and I wanted to get this video out before then. And at the end of the day, I wasn't able to get the entire thing done. Thus, I had to release it in two parts. And, you know, it's like, I look back at that video and I just didn't like how it turned out. So, this is a chance for me to make not only the version that I initially wanted to make, but to potentially make a better version of that video. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm currently, there's like a couple of things I'm juggling around right now. So there's one video that I want to do, a shorter one in time for this year's Monsterverse anniversary. Is probably not what you think. And then right after that, I will get started in filming the new Jurassic Park Timeline video. And yeah, just like get everything together and just make the video that I initially wanted to make, more or less. So yeah, stay tuned for that before potentially more Jurassic content releases. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know some of your thoughts and theories for Jurassic World Rebirth. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Till next time, everybody.